Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast, where all accountants come to learn all the ways to grow your firm. And when you're in doubt, I am here to help you out. So if you're ready to learn and ready to grow your firm, then you're in the right place to sharpen your skills and increase your revenue. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accountants come to learn all the ways that you can grow your firm. So if you are ever in doubt, then guess what? I am here to help you out. So if you're ready to learn, ready to grow your firm, then you are in the right place to really sharpen your skills and increase your revenue. And today we have a very special guest. Our special guest is my business partner, Denise Mandeau. She has a proven success as a business owner, financial planner. She's actually an award-winning sales professional with over 35 years of experience. I don't know if you all knew that. And she's really learned what it takes to produce results and have been working with professionals and sales teams over the last few years, helping them generate millions of dollars in new business. And she's actually personally closed over $1.8 million in new business just in the last 12 months. So Denise and I are very passionate about teaching others how to learn and sell without being salesy, without being pushy, and coming from a place of gratitude, integrity, and authenticity. So before we welcome Denise right here to the show, if you are an accounting professional and you're feeling a little frustrated because of what's going on right now in the world and these uncertain times, and you're not really feeling courageous, and it's really about that you feel like you're getting a little smaller and you're contracting, but you truly want to thrive and work with those clients who will pay you exactly what you're worth, and they will pay you for high fee engagements right now, even during these times. You know what? It's not your fault. There's really no one training or teaching you on how to fix some of these problems and connect the dots. So if you are ready to continue to thrive and you're not wanting to be in fear, you don't want to be in flight mode, you don't want to be in scarcity mode, and you want to thrive and move forward during uncertainty where most people are going to be contracting, then head on over to theabundantcall.com and schedule your free coaching session with Denise and myself. Once again, head on over to theabundantcall.com to schedule your coaching session. If you truly and authentically want us to be a mirror for you to get to the truth of the challenges that you're having with building your firm during a time of uncertainty. So if you're ready to build your dream practice, work less, and still have the time and money to enjoy with your family and work like part-time right now, then head on over to theabundantcall.com. The 3 mindset shifts to use right now to navigate these uncertain times, what to say to your clients. So grab a pen and paper, take notes, and here we go. So the first shift is to understand the difference between being courageous versus being fearless, okay? So that's the first shift we're going to talk about today. And you might be wondering, okay, well, what is the difference? And here is the difference. If you look at this is like what human beings need on the image, okay? They have esteem, love and belonging, safety and needs, physiological needs, and the first one, self-actualization, right? So those are all of the needs. The one that's screwed up the most in this current time is safety needs, personal security, employment, resources, health, property. Those are probably the biggest one that's throwing everyone for a little loop-de-loop right now. And before people can really consider even thriving, flourishing, prospering during these times, they have to really get over being worried about surviving. So that's going to be the first thing that we talk about. And Denise, feel free to chime in because Denise is here too. And, you know, there's this thing called the perceived reality. And one of the first things that I would start sharing with your client is stating the perceived reality of really what's going on right now. And it puts this thing at ease in the other person's mind. So, Denise, if you and I were to role play this, and Denise was coming in, she heard about me. I'm a CPA. I do tax planning. And, she's really sick of her accountant because they actually aren't answering phone calls right now. I might want to say the following to her before we actually get started. Like, it probably feels like things are changing from 1 minute to the next, huh, Denise?
Yeah, for sure.
And it really seems like it's a really scary time for many of us out there. Maybe for your clients too in your business.
Yeah, it's been unsettling for sure, like not knowing how long this is going to be, my cash flow, everything that's going on, the laws changing, everything.
Yeah, everything is changing so fast that I bet that it seems like you have no idea what it will look like on the other side of this when we get back to our new normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's been even just stressful, just shifting our office to virtual from and working in a new space and having the kids, home and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like with your kids, that probably you and your family are even, and probably your business clients are afraid of, that this pandemic will destroy maybe your business or just everything just around us.
Hopefully not. That's the whole idea. That's why I'm on the phone with you, because I'm hoping you can help me so that I could get through this and come out the other side thriving instead of, what's going on right now.
Okay, good. Well done. So what I did was, you can do it in your own words, but you're sharing the perceived reality of what is, so you're not ignoring it. Okay. And after that, a good way to, again, shift from fearless to being more courageous, and then opening it up to your clients and asking them, how do you feel about what's going on right now? And ask them how they're feeling.
Just to make a distinction also, when we're talking about the difference between being fearful, I mean, being an entrepreneur, doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you're courageous. There's a big distinction there, right? Because courage is about facing the fear and doing it anyway, in the face of fear. And that's who everyone on this call, you guys are courageous. And that's who you need to be for your clients, right? You need to help them find their courage too, because they're facing a lot of fear right now.
So first, it's accepting that it's actually okay to be afraid. And that's what we did when you shared the perceived reality, and that you are too. And then second is what Denise just said. And also, so right from the dictionary, the definition of courage is mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. So just keep that in mind, and you can use this when speaking and communicating to your clients. And Denise, don't you have a story about somebody that you were working with that, was really, scared?
Yeah. I mean, I was having a conversation with someone, and we were identifying where all of these fears were coming from. And then, come to find out that she was a retired Marine. And she said, what I've learned is going into battle and being on the front lines is you have to take risks to win the war. And you've got to understand what really fear is, like what there truly is to be afraid of. And, in order to win and to come out the other side, you have to be courageous to do that. And you've got to take calculated risks.
Yep. Super important about the calculated risks. And, I was on the phone with somebody, which is what kind of sparked us to share this with all of you today. He's in New York, very scared, in the heart of everything in Brooklyn, but knew that there was something better for him and his family. And why not take the time now to make that shift? And he was part of a small percentage of people who want to actually move forward in these times. And we'll talk more about that today. But just know that there is a percent of people that, might leave and might disappear on you. And that's okay. And it will open up space for new possibilities. So that's the first shift to consider and think about when you're communicating to your clients, how you want to be talking to them. And then the second shift is a big one. It has to do with you, is that we have to do the opposite. And doing the opposite is basically what Denise and I are going to share today, and we'll role play it, is asking yourself a different question. So how do you change the conversation with yourself to change the conversation with your clients? So Denise, I know you've got a trick up your sleeve that you like to use when this pops up, even in your own self, because we've been talking and I know your mom's going through a lot and it's been difficult. And I know that for me, it's been crazy, and I'll share with you all a little story if you haven't already heard it. But it's not like this isn't happening to all of us. So what is it for you, Denise?
Yeah, I mean, like the first thing is when you start to ask yourself questions like, oh my God, how is this going to work? How am I going to survive? Like you start to ask yourself those kind of questions. When you're asking yourself that, it's just bringing up those concerns, those fears for you, right? Or, things keep changing. There's questions that are coming up for you and for your clients. So when you're asking from that point of view, that's coming from a place of unknown, right? And so if you're asking those questions, how do you flip the switch? Well, what if the opposite's true? What if instead of asking yourself, how do I make this work? How am I going to get all this done? How am I going to stop the bleeding? Like all of that, you were to say, well, how can I make this work best for me and my clients so I can serve them during this time and we can continue to work together long term? Do you hear the subtle shift there?
But when the fear pops up, even in us, right? Like for all of you, the laws change right now on the daily basis, I think. I think something is changing literally every single day. The IRS does this law did that, this loan is no good anymore for these people, unemployment this, and everything is changing literally by the hour. And you're saying to yourself, I just don't have enough hours in the day to get this done, right? So a shift could be, well, how can I use this information to create new opportunities to be even more valuable to my clients? And I get to read the internet and the IRS for 8 more hours, but it's a subtle shift, but to think about it more from the bigger, grandiose picture. And what we're sharing today, we had to make a shift in our conversations with people. And that's why I want to be able to share this with all of you, because these subtle shifts have made a big difference. And I'll just share with you real quick. For me, if you haven't heard yet, I pretty much got stuck in Peru with my boyfriend and had to get out. And we could have lived in the fear of, oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to get out of here? Had the government shut down the borders in 24 hours? Or we changed the question we asked ourselves. And that is how we were actually able to get out with 2 hours to spare out of the borders of Peru at 10 p.m. when the border closed at midnight. And there's still a ton of Americans still stuck there. But what we thought about was, how can we make this work for all of us Americans to get out of the country, and think on how we can work together now to get us home? How did we come up with solutions that a bunch of other people didn't even come up with? And also, when you're in the fear mindset, there is this really great thing. I actually read it today, but in fear, we can't even think straight. The amygdala is on fire and you can't think straight. So if your clients are sitting in front of you frantic and you don't do the first shift, which is state the reality of what's going on, they can't get calm. And if they can't get calm, then they can't even hear you. And what I know, I wrote it down. Oh, the survival mode. Survival mode isn't success mode. So if we were going to get stuck in survival mode in Peru trying to get out, We were never going to be successful. But thank God we were amongst a bunch of other Americans that were willing to not be in stress mode, and we could all sort of think properly enough. We had 14 brains that figured it out. So, Denise, do you have anything else on this simple shift? I know it seems simple. It's not the easiest to do, but with practice, and you might need to write these down, right? So something you might want to write down is, how can I make this work best for my clients so we can continue to work together right now? And when this is, over, or when our new normal begins, or when things have lifted, you can choose your wording. And then the other is, and this is for all the law changes that I've seen even, and I know I'm just like, wow, you're all so smart and all this stuff that they're just throwing at you. But how can you use this information to create new opportunities to be even more valuable to your clients now and in the future, with the new norm? I mean, there's going to be so many opportunities with other consulting engagements, higher value work coming out of this, because, there's going to be new tax credit. I mean, I can't even imagine how many newer opportunities that this is going to unfold for a lot of you. And lastly, that every day, we put off really not getting the support or helping our clients move forward, we actually are having them move backwards. So it's also something for you to think about when we get in our own way. And trust me, it happens. That first week when I was back, I'm like, we were supposed to start another sales class. Well, that had to get put on pause because for many accountants, right? For all of you, everything shifted so fast. So, we had to put it on pause, and your clients are having to do the same and make pivots and make changes. So, Denise, anything else on this? If the phone's ringing, if you're sending an email out, if you're in a meeting with a client, anything else you can think of?
Yeah, again, just to reiterate, and this is like when you're in that fear space, and fear can show up. It might not be fear. It could be anxiety. It could be, upset. It could be frustration. That's what we call your primal state. When you're in all of those, kind of like upset, fear, anger, sadness, whatever it is, frustration, it cuts off all your problem solving ability. Yeah. So to identify it and acknowledge it, right, and be like, wow, I'm really frustrated, and then kind of dig backwards and go, well, what's causing that? Because maybe you feel helpless. All right, well, what's causing that helpless? Whatever it is, kind of, can kind of reverse engineer back and really see, is that really true? Is it true that, I'm feeling, what's causing this feeling? Because feelings come from beliefs, right? So you have to look at, well, what do I really believe about this? Well, we're never going to get out of this, or whatever that belief is. And then really, like, what we're pointing to is to flip that to the opposite. Right?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep. And the last thing I want to say about this second shift, and that I invite each of you to share this with all of your clients on every email, every phone call, anything that you do, is share with them. We'll get through this together. I'm on your side. In your own words, something like that. This will all be fabulous at the end, and we'll get through this together. I'm here for you. If you recall, think about sitting on the same side of someone's table at a picnic, or think about yourself in their shoes. Similar concept. So now going to the third one, which is very important, because each of you will want to work with people who want to thrive instead of contract in a time like today. Anyone who is on a contracting wavelength is not probably going to be on the thriving wavelength. So we're going to talk a little bit about the flight, fight, fear, or thrive. And, think about, which do you think most people are operating from right now? It's probably obvious, right? The 3 F's. And which do you choose to operate from? So it's another one similar to the second shift, is think about the question you're asking yourself. If you find yourself in fear, go, which place do I want to operate from? Do I want to operate from flight, fear? Which place am I going to choose? So those are pretty much the 4 places that we have found people are operating from. If you read any article from 1918, it is stating the exact same stuff. Anything from September 11th, for those of you in New York, say, or it was the whole country, but specifically a lot of people in New York, same stuff. If you think about the time when the market just turned around in 2009, same stuff happened. So any time there was a downturn, financial global crisis, this is really the time where you're going to see a small percentage of people, and we want to share these mindset shifts so your clients can also move into the thrive, because it's actually a choice. It's a mental choice and decision. My first week being back in Peru, I was in fight, flight, and fear mode. I had no idea what was going on in the business. Part of my business and what I do for some other work also comes from in professional sports. That all came to a screeching halt on March 12th. I was not in the Thrive department. It took me about 5 days to shift over there by asking myself different questions. So, Denise, when the market and people are contracting, can you share a little bit about that so we can all make sure that you understand clearly what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, because during times when the market is contracting like it is now, I don't know if you guys know this, but every time we've been in a global crisis like Michelle was talking about, or some sort of event like this, if you can, while the rest of the world is contracting, if you can push through and expand and be in expansion mode instead of contraction mode, this can act like a slingshot to sling you past even thought you could be in a year like this. Yeah. Like more billionaires and millionaires are made during these kind of times than any other time in history. Because like even for you, like Alexa, you were saying like there's other offices closed right now, right? But you're open. So it's like you're rising to the surface, right? Like people that maybe never would have contacted you before are contacting you now. What if that's the new normal? What if that's the new truth? And you're shifting your beliefs, right? And now looking for opportunities, new ways to shift your business that weren't available before. Like, helping people fill out their forms for applying for loans, or looking for helping them see new opportunities for them. This is an opportunity for you to really flourish and prosper and push through all this and be the leaders for your clients to do the same. And that's really what they need right now.
It is what they need right now. And it's really important that you share this information with them so they understand that you want to work with the percentage that want to thrive and move forward and look for solutions, pivot their business if they need to. Yes, fill out all the paperwork, or you guys get them the documents they need so they fill it out themselves. I mean, it's super stressful for a lot of your clients right now. And by doing the first shift and sharing exactly what you're thinking, they're thinking, right? That's basically what it is. And if you read Chris Voss's book, you will hear what I'm talking about, but it's stating the predictability of what they're probably thinking, which puts somebody at ease and at calm so they can hear you. And what I invite each of you to do is that make sure, Alexi, if you're going to be working with new clients, that you consider working with only those who are willing to thrive during periods of time like this, and almost adjust how you're picking and choosing the clients that you want to work with. And then think about your current client base, because I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to that there's a percentage of clients you don't want anyway. So if people's true colors are going to show up here, but you have to help them through this process, because a lot of people won't be able to process this on their own. So if they're a client worth having and sticking around, take them through some of what we talked about today in order for them to really see what's possible. How can they push through? How can they thrive? How can they pivot to still generate some revenue and have a loan to subsidize the lost revenue? What can they do and think about for yourself? You'll get through this together and you're on their side, and having them really feel that. And one bonus thing I want to share, and Denise, I don't know if you have anything else, but
yeah, I have a story actually.
Okay, yeah, let's hear. I want to hear your story, and then I'll end it with one thing.
I was actually on a call with some people earlier today, and there was somebody in the group that has a business. They do manufacturing, and he does digital printing. And what he saw was the opportunity. He could actually digital print the face protectors for the medical people, like that they could wear, so they're not getting all that. They're wearing these protective goggles that are hurting their face and all that. And literally, he put it out there, and he's getting orders like crazy now, and he's busier than he was doing what he was doing before. So like, it's all about being open to seeing what's possible, and then things will start to align and show up. And that's how you have to look, that's how we all have to look at what we're doing now, and creating that excitement and that energy, and being like, oh, it's almost like Christmas. It's like, oh God, there's so much here. I can't wait. What's going to pop up, right? Mm-hmm. And having that energy, that's you're going to start seeing things that you didn't see before. And so will your clients.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And the one last thing I want to leave you with is now is a really great time to continue to build trust with prospects that you haven't worked with right now, that have been, maybe you've met with them and they told you they wanted to think about it. Maybe you've met with them a year ago and you didn't follow up with them every week or every 30 days or every 90 days. Or maybe it's a current client. Maybe it's really just a current client and you want to continue to build that trust in order for them to really still have them see the value in you. And one of the ways to do that, and I was listening, so I don't take credit for this. I think it was Chris or Brandon or Derek. They get credit for this. But trust is also built on predictability. And what I mean by that, and it was so cool because it's like, let's say, Alexi, you're filling out a PPL something, whatever that thing is called, for a client. And you took the responsibility on for the client, right? And now the client is relying to hear from you. They want updates. They're nervous. Their business is closed. They got to make payroll. They're so confused on all the different rules and regulations and laws. It's like they need updates. Well, to build the trust, the predictability is if you just pick up the phone and call them with an update. And the best bet is when you call them, and let's say you don't have an update, but you just call them to check in. Hey, Joe and Suzanne, I hope you're really well today. You're still healthy. You're at home. I wanted to let you know it's about 4:00 Eastern and I don't have any updates, but you're going to hear from me tomorrow. And I hope you have a restful evening. That's the type of predictability that I'm talking about. So I'll give you an example of what not to do. So what not to do, I just went through this for 4.5 months. I have a rental property in Arizona. My guy moved out December 31st, and I was the one that had to call the real estate agent asking her for updates, like, how many showings did you have? Is it rented? Blah, 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 blah. And it was like 4.5 months it was vacant. It's never happened in 13 years. I guess there's a new time for everything, but I didn't gain any trust from her. Like, we got it done, but it was so annoying. Like you could have easily sent me an email or stated, you have to state the expectation first, okay? Like, Michelle, I'm going to email you every week with exactly how many showings I've done and what the update is on all of them. But no, there was no sequential system. It was just a hot mess. Well, let me tell you, a hot mess does not create trust. So that's the example of what not to do. But think about your clients right now in a world of uncertainty need some sort of certainty. So by giving them expectations, it will create certainty. So that's what I wanted to leave you with. Thank you all so much for joining Denise and I here, really talking about these mindset opportunities that exist for you. It really is a simple shift that you can make in the split of 2 seconds. Are you going to remember? Are you going to choose to be courageous or fearless? Where are you going to choose? How are you going to think and ask yourself a different question to do something of the opposite of whatever you're thinking? And it is a choice. It is a choice that you might have to make every hour. Are we going to thrive together, or are you going to contract on your own? One of the things, just to share personally, I can't even remember if I already talked about this, but, when I was about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, depending on what day this is airing, I was in Peru. And I'm not going to lie, I was definitely in the fear department. We were escaping. My adrenaline was so high that I didn't even realize that a 15-hour bus ride had gone on, and we ended up in Bolivia to cross the border just with 2 hours to spare. But in those moments, I had to choose thrive instead of contract. If I were to contract, I'd still probably be in the mountains in Peru with the llamas and the llamas and the horses and just, looking at beautiful scenery and not being able to be here to help each of you, show you the ways and the different shifts to make when communicating with your clients, communicating with yourself, because the self-talk and what we say to ourselves is the biggest thing that is the game changer today. So when I got home, it definitely took me about a week from that moment to, it was about a Sunday to Sunday where I was in fear. I was in flight mode. I was in fight mode. I was just like, how the heck am I going to get to a somewhat normal? And you get to choose where you want to operate from. We all have that choice. And ultimately, like I said, what do you want to choose today? Think about that. What do you want to choose this hour? What has you inspired to move forward in the face of uncertainty? Because if you read history, especially during the 1918, I think it was then, flu, history repeats itself. The most millionaires and the most billionaires were created during times of uncertainty. So just keep that in mind. And if you want to get to the truth in your business about, what should you be charging now? I know for a fact some of you probably don't believe you can actually get a high monthly fee engagement client right now. Maybe you're thinking you need to do some work for free, or you want to think about what your clients can afford and that's all they could probably pay you. You know what? None of it's your fault. There's no one really teaching or training on how to fix these problems and connect the dots, especially during these times. So if you are committed to getting to the truth and really reflecting and moving forward during a time of uncertainty and thriving through this and coming out the other side into the new normal with a level of clarity and opportunity that exists, then head on over to theabundantcall.com to schedule your complimentary coaching session that's 1 hour long with myself or Denise. All we require is that you are a firm owner and you've been in business at least 2 years. So we would love to talk to you. Again, head on over to theabundantcall.com. I hope you got a lot out of today. Use what you learned today in communicating with your clients. And also, leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. The review helps this show grow. And share with me, what's the one mindset shift that you're going to make today? So keep thriving, keep growing, and have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.